We have listened to a podcast he did a few years with goalkeeper Paul Robinson called Show Racism the Red Card. You talked about growing up and having to deal with people being racist. What was your experience of this, and has football done enough to get rid of racism?
I think racism is an issue in society, but yeah, I did face racism, and I look back at it now and I think there's a lot more help and a lot more support. How I dealt with things, and again, might be because I was adopted, so I grew up in a very white environment, so all my family were white. Me and my brother were the only two, anyone in our family that had, that were, that obviously we were both mixed race. So it was hard. Sometimes you didn't know how to deal with it. Your parents taught you the best way to deal with it and comments to say, but they probably didn't always know how I felt. But obviously very, very good and brave, strong people to adopt two black children. But yeah, I did it. I received a lot of racism. Some of it was just ignorant. Some of it was, physical attacks on me, just literally for nothing else but my colour. Probably one of the times I talked about in that Paul Robinson podcast was these lads from a few different schools were after me just because of my colour. That was it. The only reason that all the fighting started was because of my colour. And I was at primary school, so I was a young kid, and it was scary. It was scary that you're walking along and then you're singled out. No other reason. I am walking home with all my friends and they want to attack me just because I'm black. And it's like, well, that's not fair. So then when you're a young kid, you just want to be with everybody else. So it actually makes you think, oh, I wish I was white, and then I wouldn't get attacked, or I wouldn't walk to play football in the playground and the older kids go, you can't play. Why? Because you're black. That's it. No other reason. But they're my mates. And they go, he's the best player. Okay, can't play. You're black. And that was it. All the time. I can remember the first game I played, 9 years of age, and you can probably feel the emotion because it hurts. And then you had to just get on with it and sort of, if you reacted, you had a chip on your shoulder and all this stuff. And if you're fighting, because, which I would never advocate, but sometimes you have no choice. It was literally, I had some fights that if I didn't fight back, they just beat me up just because of my colour. And these kids are older than me as well. So I was at primary school and the secondary school kids would all come and wait for me. So I'd had a fight. Basically, someone beat up my mate because it all started in the playground. Basically, I went to play football. You can't play because you're black. All this stuff. My friend had come from inner city Birmingham with lots and lots of black friends. He stood up for me, had a fight with the boy. He beat the boy. So then, when he was walking home later, where he grew up, in his area, all the kids from the estate beat him up because he basically fought for a black person. So then, a bit later, I'm walking and they're going to get him again. So I've said, look, well, you want me, so I'll take the fight for him, which I didn't want to do, but I had to do. I won the fight. The kid's older than me, and that was it. That made my life hell for so long. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell any teachers. I didn't tell my parents. And they used to send bikes out for me trying to find me. And I can still remember this day, I'm playing at Shawbus Lane in goal, and they've surrounded the pitch. So I'm playing 9, 10 years old. 10, 10. Definitely not at secondary school. I know that for a fact. So maybe 11 at the oldest. And all these kids from the estate around, and they've got all the bikes, they've got everything. But lucky, and I still remember his name, he's called Ian Townsend. So he come and stood by my goal and said, man, whatever you do not walk that way. They've got everything blocked off. Every alleyway's blocked off. All the kids are there and they're gonna get you. Okay? So I was thinking, so I just stood in goal thinking, this final whistle's gonna go and they're gonna get me. That's all they wanna do, they're gonna get me. Did I go and tell my manager? Don Astle, who's still got a season ticket here now, who I love to bits, he took me to, I didn't tell anyone. So I walked miles and miles and miles all the way home to get back. And as I say, they didn't catch me. And then they waited for me after school, followed me, and I had another fight then because they got me. And And eventually my brother went to their school and ended up making friends with one of their brothers, and it just all got squashed. But that was some of the most terrifying times, and the only thing was because of my colour. So it was really, really difficult, and that's why I would say to anybody now, you speak out, you don't do it. But that's why you're so passionate about it, because you don't want other kids to go through what I went through, and it's really, really difficult. But even when I played for England under 21s, I played in Italy, played in Slovakia, monkey chants everywhere, but it was totally different to now. Like then we just used to roll our sleeves up and we'd go and beat them. That's all we think, we're going to beat you. And then don't swap shirts with you and don't whatever, we'll go and we'll get on our bus and go home. Whereas now, people walk in, they'd beat things over the tannoy, they might stop the game. They'd also ask you how you feel. But we weren't, no one ever asked us how we felt. And it was like, yeah, you've been racially abused, yeah, you've been called a monkey and this and that. You know, you just got to get on with it. So, yeah, unfortunately, experienced a lot, but do I think the game has done a lot? Yeah, I do. I think the game's changed. I think I had a black coach here called Terry Connor, and what he went through from fans in England, we didn't really receive. And then now, what we went through as young players, England players of today wouldn't be accepted that we stayed in bans and fines. It's a reflection of society, but 100% there can still be more done. But football, I think, is a very, very good way of, not only for racism, but just for diversity in general, is making a real difference.